This video is going to be going over how to do exam question one of time. As you can see, I have already highlighted the important information. So it says that he needs to start his job at 8. It needs to allow 20 minutes traveling time between jobs and finish his last job by 5:30. During the day, Pete will stop for an hour to have his lunch. Now, because I think I'm going to forget that there's a lunch, I'm going to add his lunch onto here. I put it as 60 for 60 minutes. You could put it as an hour, either. And that will be any time. So I'm drawing the plan for him to get to all 5 jobs. So I know when I start at 8 a.m. And then I'm going to be traveling for 20 minutes. I say Pete's going to be traveling for 20 minutes to get to his first job. This is where this column comes in. I need to be looking at that information because if I put Mr. Khalid first, he says he wants the afternoon. He's not going to be very happy when Pete turns up to his door at 8:20. So looking at this information, Remy says he wants the morning, so Remy can go first. It's going to be, as I said, 8:20 when he arrives at Remy's door. Remy is going to take an hour and 15 minutes. So I need to do 8:20 plus an hour and 15 minutes. So I might do that. Add the hour, be 9:20, add 15 more minutes. It's going to be 9:35. You might turn 1 hour 15 into minutes and add that on. It really depends on how you're used to calculating time. But either way, you should end up with him being finished at 9:35. So I have put when he started and when he finished, which allows me to complete that criteria, show the start and finish time for each job. Once he's done with Remy, he's going to take another 20 minutes to travel to the next job. Luckily, they are all very close together. That's going to take him to 9:55, where you could add pretty much anyone in at this point. So I'm done with Remy, so I'm going to cross him off because Mrs. Green wants before 3. Yeah, it's before 3. Denny wants any time at any time. Mrs. Baker also wants any time. It's not really appropriate to have lunch at 9:55. So I'm going to put Denny, but you could have Miss Baker, you could have Mrs. Green. Now Denny's going to take 30 minutes, so 9:55 plus 30 minutes is going to be 10:25, and that's when he'll be finished. And then he's going to take another 20 minutes of travel. And that will take him up to 10:45, where he can get to someone else's door. So I'm done with Denny. I'll cross Denny off. Excellent. So now 10:45, I think he can then go to Miss Baker. Miss Baker is going to take him 3/4 of an hour, which is 45 minutes, which will take him up to 11:30, which is when he will be finished. He is then going to travel for 20 minutes. And that will take him up to 11:50. Once he is done there, I think it's appropriate time for lunch. Ah, no, I'm mistaken there, aren't I? So sorry, once he's finished with Miss Baker, that will be 45 minutes. So I've then made the mistake there of thinking that he's going to need to travel and have his lunch. But it does say here that he's going to stop for the hour to have his lunch. So I'm going to presume that that means he doesn't actually need to travel anywhere. That might mean that like he's having it in his van, or the hour lunch kind of takes into account the traveling because he's not actually traveling job to job. So it says it's job to job is 20 minutes, but he's just going to stop for his lunch. So once he's finished there, he's going to have lunch, and that will take him an hour, which will take him up to 12:30, and that's when that will be finished. Once we're at 12:30, then we are going job to job. We will need 20 minutes of travel. Once he's traveled his 20 minutes, he'll be there at 12:50, where he can see another client. I think he can see Mrs. Green then. Mrs. Green, according to our table, that's lunch and Miss Baker done, is going to be an hour and a half, which is 90 minutes. So 12:50 plus 90 minutes is going to be 14:20, and that's when he'll be finished. Once he's finished with Mrs. Green, he needs to travel for a further 20 minutes. That will take him up to 14:40, and that means he can see his final client of the day, Mr. Khalid, who will take him 120 minutes or an hour and a half. No, sorry, 120 minutes would be 2 hours. So that will take him right the way through to 16:40. That's when he's finished. So I then need to check, have I done everybody? I've had Mr. Khalid and I've had Mrs. Green. I've put in all of the start and end times. I've put in the 20 minutes of travel. He has had his lunch and he has started at 8 a.m. And has he finished his last job by 5:30? Yes. Even if I was to add in an extra 20 minutes of traveling time for him to get home, for example, then I have achieved the finish time of before 5:30. So that's how you answer this question. As I said, there are a few different ways to answer it. You could have a few different people in different places, but you should be looking at about the roughly the same time scale that I have here. If you do have any questions about this question, please do email me and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you.